We've all gathered here to discuss the question of purpose. And most people believe that the purpose of life is to find happiness. And if you ask most people how they can find happiness, everybody will have a different definition. Somebody will say that if I make a lot of money, I will be happy. Somebody will say that if I travel a lot, I feel satiated. Somebody will say only if I had that particular car, I will feel happy. So everybody has their own definitions. The problem is that none of these definitions really make people happy. In fact, a Harvard professor once conducted a study of 2,000 millionaires. Each of the people had more than $1 million in wealth. Some of them were $50 million, $100 million. And he asked them a very, very simple question. He said, what is going to make you happy? And the answer he got was that only if I had 2 to 3 times the amount of money I currently have, I'm going to become happy. Now, these were millionaires who thought this way. Us mere mortals, we have our own problems. So now we really need to ask this question that have we created the right model? I'm a marketeer, so we have created this model where we are selling to people and we are telling them that what will make you happy is to be more successful, is to have more money, is to have a bigger flat, an apartment, a bigger house, a bigger car. And till the time you have that, till the time your face is not plastered onto every newspaper in the country, you will not be successful. And therefore, we start striving, we start working hard. We work hard to get good grades, we work hard to get, a bigger promotion, to make more money, but it doesn't work. So I'd like to present what this model represents, is that of a pyramid. And till the time you get to the top of the pyramid, you never really feel satisfied. You always look at somebody else and you say, oh, that guy, he must be happy. But I'm not. I can't be. So you keep striving, you keep striving, you keep striving. Until the time you get to the top and you can look down on people, you believe that this is not going to work till that time. Now, the problem with the pyramid is that for somebody to win, somebody has to lose. Fundamentally, it's an exploitative model. We have to be above and bigger and better than somebody else. So, I want to, through this talk today, present to you an alternate model. I want to present a model which I believe can work. And this talk is not about me. It's about you. So, let's see if we can do that. I was caught up in this model of the pyramid as well. I almost dropped out of school at the age of 19. I started a business. I wanted to be successful. I wanted everybody to know me. My first business failed. I was a little disappointed, but I thought, it's just a coincidence that something did not work out. Let me start another business. So I started my second business. Now, unfortunately, due to a variety of reasons, this business also did not work. So by the age of 23, I had flunked 2 businesses. My self-confidence was pretty much zero. I thought that nobody respected me. I thought that I was up to no good. My self-worth was completely down in the dumps. This started playing with my mind. I was anxious. I was really, really stressed. I think for 6 months, I did not leave my room. My family started being scared that, they didn't know what I was trying to do. There were all kinds of problems that were happening during that time. And honestly, I did not know what could make me come out of that room as well. It was a very dark period. Anyway, somehow, through some miracles, I finally mustered the final gust of courage and managed to come out of that room and start a third company, which was selling health supplements. And fortunately, this started doing extremely well, and a much larger player acquired this particular company. Now, for any businessman, an exit means paradise. It means that you have finally arrived. And the same happened with me. I thought I had arrived. My name started to be printed in the newspapers. I believed people started to look at me with completely different eyes. And I thought that this is all that I wanted. But then I started questioning, what next? Is this really satiating me? And really, I did not have any answer. So I started searching. I started searching for a model. As a business man, you always are looking for some kind of a model which works. And I'm a technologist, so we look for technology which can be used by anyone for joyfulness. That's what I was on the lookout for. And my lookout took me to many, many countries. I went to South America, I went to Europe. I looked at models of the East in China. Of course, in India as well, we have a very well-documented long history of people documenting how to be happy. I was also born in an extremely religious family. So, my exposure right in my childhood was to extremely ascetic monks. Now, when you look at any of these monks, and maybe you've looked at them as well, they look extremely peaceful, happy, calm, satisfied. And I used to look at them, I used to find them extremely inspirational. But I knew that this was not my path. I did not want to be a monk. What I wanted to do was be in this world and yet find a technology which could make me joyful. And I could not find any answers anywhere. So eventually, through a lot of these travels, studying of cultures, reading of books, I went around here and there, and eventually I landed up at the footsteps of a wise man. Like in any other story, there is a wise man here. And this wise man asked me how I was investing my time. And when I told him that I was trying to climb the pyramid, but really it's not satisfying my heart. My heart still feels empty. So he said to me, I don't know, maybe you've seen in India, there's the Great Indian Head Bob. Have you seen it? The Great Indian Head Bob. Whenever you see someone wise, they typically, and you ask them a question, they will never give you a straight answer. They will basically start moving their head like that. So you ask them, how can I be happy? Like, you really can't understand what they mean by that. So is that a yes or no? Can you give me an answer really? Like just saying this. So anyway, eventually after a lot of pursuit, he started to give me some answers. And he said that essentially there are 4 areas of life. And what I was investing in was only the physical aspect of life, which was how I look, how much money I have, and so on. So what I want to present to you is an alternate model of thinking about how your life can be. This model is that of a mandala. Now in a mandala, there are 4 aspects. You're right at the center of this mandala. And there are 4 aspects which are equally important. There is the physical aspect, which you already know, which is how your interaction is with the world, with respect to economics, with respect to where you stay, and so on. But then there is also the mental aspect, is that, can you really be present when somebody is saying something important to you? Can you feel joy in the smaller things of life? Then there is the emotional aspect. Can you find the ability to serve another? Can you find the ability to relate with somebody at an emotional level? And the 4th is the spiritual aspect, which is, does your spirit feel alive? Does your heart sing? Now, the problem with this is that when I say these words, it sounds like a lot of voodoo, and it's very difficult to explain it in a way which completely makes sense unless you try it. It's like trying to explain honey, to somebody who's never tasted it. All you can say is that it's sweet. You can say it's like sugar, but it's not really sugar. So, we'll come to what you can do in order to taste this. Now, when I understood all of these 4 aspects, I tried to start experimenting in my own life. So I adopted the practices of yoga and meditation. When I first tried to start with yoga and meditation, I thought this was completely for old people, not for me, not for young people. But eventually, in some way, I started doing this, and over a few years, I started realizing that all these four aspects of my life started to become very, very balanced. And what started happening after that was astonishing. You know, I lost 10 kgs. I looked and felt fitter than ever. The relationships with people close to me started reaching very, very warm heights. People at work started to like coming to work with me. Whereas earlier, they would feel that I'm a businessman who only cares about money. These results were so astonishing that I believed and I wanted to take these messages out to people so that living in this world, we can find a technology for happiness. So, I was thinking what I can call something like this. And I read a New York Times article where in New York, there is the practice of broga, which is very popular. Have you heard of broga? Broga is yoga for brothers. And then there is also doga, which is yoga for, it, right? Yoga for dogs. So I thought maybe I should call this voga, which is people of the world doing yoga, or boga, which is, business people who are doing yoga. But eventually, it's not about yoga. It's about the practice of being able to balance all these four aspects. What can you do in order to balance these things? While I was at Stanford, I interacted with some very successful business entrepreneurs. And in further interactions with them, what I realized was that while they're extremely successful, what makes them not sleep at night, and in fact, there was a guy running a $40 million business, and he started, over drinks, he broke down, and he said, all I really want is to be able to see my daughter sleep and to wake up in the morning, but I have no time for that. So that's the balance that we need to think about. So what can you do in order to bring balance in your life? For the physical aspect, what I would suggest is that start exercising and start building a skill which you're extremely passionate about. This skill, but do it in a deliberate manner. On the mental aspect, practice the art of mindfulness. There are apps on the iPhone now which you can download, apps such as Mindspace, and you can start the practice of mindfulness in just being able to observe and hear your breath for 10 minutes a day. That's all it needs. On the emotional aspect, I would highly recommend the practice of giving. Start volunteering some time at a local NGO or with your money, but in a deliberate fashion. And on the spiritual aspect, it's a very difficult one, but what I would say is start the practice of appreciation. Appreciate things which are bigger than you, such as the nature, such as the sun, such as the water. And like I said earlier, this might sound a little voodoo, but unless you practice it, it's very difficult to realize what honey is really like. So eventually, what I would like to leave you with is that imagine, the next generation of children who are going to come out and study in American school. Now, don't we want to leave them a future in which people are more calm, more balanced, more joyful, where we don't have to exploit the environment in order to find joy for us, where we don't have to breathe the kind of air that we currently have to breathe? Wouldn't it be wonderful if people are not only thinking about monetary aspects of life, but living a more well-balanced, successful life? And that becomes the definition of success. And those are the people who are called in and featured on newspapers and in magazines and on TV. But for that, what you have to do is start with yourself. So I would ask you to join me in this journey and hope that it really works out for the best for you. Thank you so much.